All right, we are recording. Welcome everyone to another live episode of the Managing Partners Podcast. I'm Kevin Daisy. I'll be your host. I'm also the founder of Array Digital, and we do digital marketing for law firms and help them build their case pipelines. Today, I got a special guest coming out of Michigan, but they have more locations as well, which we'll learn about here soon. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Absolutely. So excited to learn about you and your practice, your firm, what you specialize in. So without further ado, let's go ahead and what's your story? What's the journey you've had so far, and what kind of got you into this business?
Well, so what got me into this business was I guess I always wanted to be a lawyer. I did a paper on it when I was in 5th grade. But then I went into engineering in undergrad, and I was in chemical engineering and started talking to my advisor after 2.5 years and received some terrible advice that if you want to go to law school, you need to be an English major, a communications major, or something. And so I was trying to transfer out of the engineering school, but I wasn't really sure. And my buddy and I set up a screen printing business, and we're selling T-shirts outside of the football stadium at college. And the first lawyer I ever met was the university attorney who said the university was going to sue me for violating their copyright to their logos and their, everything for the university. And I pointed out to him that we didn't violate any copyrights, and he went through this whole spiel about how it was close enough, and I said it's not even close, and ultimately they dropped it. And then I realized, okay, I do want to be an attorney. So I went to law school, became the best Miss Pac-Man player in the school. The second best Miss Pac-Man player had a great job as a law clerk at Ford. And because I went to law school in Michigan, and he asked me if I wanted to work at Ford. And at first I thought he meant as a janitor. He actually meant in the legal department. So I started working as a law clerk while I was in law school at Ford Motor Company. And then got out, became an attorney, and within a couple of years realized I hated personal injury litigation. And so I contacted some people at Ford as a young, dumb, naive attorney and said, can you send me some work? And they did.
Asking you shall receive.
That's right. My career path was I was almost sued and didn't get sued. I was great at Miss Pac-Man, and I was dumb enough to ask a former employer if I could represent them.
I think that's awesome. It's funny that you almost got sued and you basically fought it and won, and we're like, wait a minute, there's something to this.
Yeah, it was exciting.
That's pretty great. They're pretty serious about their brand logos there.
Apparently, yeah.
And it takes a while to get licensed for the colleges, ACC, all the other ones out there. But yeah, awesome story though. That's pretty cool. So you went out of Ford, and they're like, yeah, here's some work, no problem. So it sounds like you went into a firm first, and they were a personal injury firm.
I spent a brief time at a plaintiff side personal injury firm. Then I went to a defense side doing insurance defense. First day on the job, they said, here's your first file. I was like a 9-month lawyer. They said, trials in 6 weeks. Good luck. Handled a bunch of jury trials back to back to back as a young lawyer. And I think on the 5th one, I represented a man who probably deserved, $250,000 in compensation. His lawyer made a couple of critical errors during the trial. I bounced down and did my job. My client won. I didn't have to pay any money. I felt terrible. Picked up the phone and called Ford to see if I could stop doing auto cases.
Right away. That's excellent. So, all right. Well, that brings you to the next point. Tell us about what you focus on now and about your firm. And of course, if you're listening, We have a website address here. Or I'm sorry, if you're watching, the website address is blue right here on your screen. If you're listening, it's, I guess, let's see, Erskine law.com. So it's Scott's last name, law.com. Go check that out. Find out more about his firm. Interesting site, a little bit different take, more modern kind of spin to it. So Scott, share a little bit more about what you focus on today and what the makeup of your firm is.
Yeah, so our firm is different. That's why our website is different. We are very technology based. We have a bunch of proprietary software that we've developed here in-house. One of my partners is a coder.
Nice.
And we integrate machine learning, artificial intelligence into proprietary databases that we use. We have developed technology that allows us to take our clients' data at the beginning of a lawsuit, because as we know, at the beginning of any lawsuit, your client gives you a bunch of data. We receive that now electronically and dump it into our database. That's step one. And so we don't have people retyping our clients' data because it's all automatically imported. We focus, we're fairly auto heavy. We represent Ford Motor Company, General Motors, FCA, which is, most people know it as Chrysler. We represent General Motors in 41 states, Ford in 2 states in litigation. We do a bunch of product claims and warranty claims work for Ford in all 50 states. We do, we do claims work for Ford in Canada, but we don't do anywhere where they speak French because we don't have anyone here that does that.
You don't speak French, okay.
That's right, no French. I struggle enough with English. So we represent FCA in 25 states. And then we have some other tier 2 suppliers, tier 3 suppliers. We do some employment litigation. We do provider cases where, the companies that do all of the imaging for people that are injured, their bills aren't paid. We sue on those. And but everything we do, and what we're a technology-based law firm, which is kind of a new thing, right?
Yeah.
We've developed products where our clients don't have to use the traditional data search tools for record reviews and things like that, because we've built our own using natural language processing and using artificial intelligence, and we can do it very fast, very efficiently, and incredibly accurately, create privilege logs, create discovery responses, and all of it is technology assisted. So
awesome.
We learned early on that if we wanted to have clients like the ones that we're fortunate to have today, that we would either need to build an enormous law firm, or we'd have to be able to compete with some of the biggest law firms without having the size of those law firms.
So efficiencies and technology.
Yes.
Absolutely. That's awesome. That's the perfect company in my mind is, efficient with a few people. That's excellent. So is your main client in you said in the audio industry, what has been some of the ways that you get those clients? And you're B2B exclusively, correct?
What's that?
You're B2B exclusively.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's some of the things that you've done that's worked other than, Ford, you had a relationship. I'm sure you carried that through. What has been some of the ways you've landed some of these other clients?
Well, so we've tried all kinds of things. What I can tell you what hasn't worked. We haven't had much luck with advertising as far as like in magazines or in whatever it is, because believe it or not, general counsel aren't combing through magazines looking for counsel. We've gone to some marketing meetings where these groups bring counsel together with GCs and AGCs. of other companies, and that's been successful. We've also, and I'm not going to say which one, but one of our clients, we started sending them a quarterly newsletter that we developed, and the only thing the client never found out was that our mailing list was one person long. We developed an entire newsletter that looked like it was for the world, but it was
That is awesome.
sent to one person. And I don't know if it, and then,
That's awesome.
thank you. One thing we focused on is when we get our foot in the door, we have been successful at marketing to our existing clients and growing our footprint laterally throughout that company. I know someone told me early on when I was a young lawyer and I started getting clients and I was at a firm, an attorney who was a great guy and was a partner at one of my other firms said, never forget that your best marketing opportunities come from the people who already trust you, the clients who already use you. And that's true whether it's a personal injury client, making sure that they tell their friends if you did a great job for them, that they're ever unfortunately in an auto accident or anything like that, to give us a call, we'd be happy to help, or a corporation. It doesn't really change. And we found that to be very effective.
100%. And, we're do digital marketing for law firms. Same applies to what we do. I think that's something that everyone needs to focus on and work on and have a process for. I think it's going to have a process for it. Meaning, I think a lot of people, they do the good work, and they don't have a process for really the follow-up that might be required to get some referrals. And it's okay. I think, hey, I want to, every quarter, hey, Mr. Client, are you happy with us still? Are we doing a good job? Yeah, we are. Okay, great. Do you know just one other, law firm that you connect us with? And I think you build that into your process and don't be a haggle, but just, if you got good clients, they respect you and they like you, then they're going to have no problem with that.
Absolutely.
And so right away, I think if you're looking for more referrals, which are the best thing to get, just build that into your onboarding process. Have a task on the counter created immediately after they onboard and say, all right, in 90 days, reach out, check in with them and say, hey, if you've been happy so far, would you give us one referral? So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I think having a process around it is helpful to people, which is something we try to work on. But excellent. So I like the newsletter thing. That's actually real. I'm thinking right now, going, who do I want to get in front of?
It worked.
That's really cool. Did you was the content even kind of crafted towards what they would probably, what would appeal to them only?
No.
Or was it just kind of?
Yeah, no, it was absolutely targeted to what we thought would appeal to that one specific person.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Whatever their football team is, you got that in there too. It's these guys are great.
Yeah, we tried not to make it too creepy, but just on the edge, right?
I like that.
Putting in an ad from his kid's school might have been too far. So
yeah, we just made a donation to
exactly. One elementary school.
Whoa, wow. Yeah. That's funny. Well, that's really cool. So you told me what didn't work well. As far, we do digital marketing, so we always like to ask, you got your website's unique. It's a little bit different. You're technology focused. Have you guys done anything with content or SEO or anything like that? Social media, is anything like that even been something you've done or had success with or tried out in the past?
Because we're looking for corporations, the social media hasn't been a really good or effective tool. Yeah. We did try a few things, in the social media arena, and they really didn't. They weren't helpful to us.
Yeah.
We thought about digital marketing. We haven't done it yet, just because we're trying. We try one thing at a time, to see if it works and give it a little bit of time. But it's difficult when you're, or not difficult. It's different when you're looking for corporate clients than it is.
B2B is different. It is.
Yeah, it is.
I was thinking you did TikTok videos.
If I could find that one guy I needed to get in front of, and he
That's
would
right.
follow me, I might.
This TikTok's for you. No, yeah, I could see social media being difficult and not produce. SEO, I would think, could always do well for anyone. That's just my belief. That's when they're searching Google specifically, and you come up or not. That's never a bad place to be. I would think LinkedIn. I'm big on LinkedIn personally. LinkedIn is cool because, and you don't have to like post on there as much as you can connect with the person by title in whatever corporation you want, which I think is just invaluable. It's probably how we got you in the podcast. It's, connect with the managing partner of a law firm. They connect back. Hey, we want to see if, we could talk to you. So
yeah, that is how you found us. And that's what gave us the idea. We've started posting. We're going to try and use LinkedIn as a informationally, connecting with people that we think would be within companies that, trying to connect with those who we think would be interested.
Yeah.
And then have very targeted posts that are more informational, not salesy at all. And see how that works. As a matter of fact, we just connected with a guy that I'm having lunch with next week through LinkedIn, where they're a tech company that there may be some synergies between what they do and what we do. And we share some clients, and then we both have clients that the other one doesn't have.
Oh, cool.
So,
excellent.
Yeah. But LinkedIn we ignored it far too long, and we're both. My personal page has been more active, but we're trying to bump up traffic on the law firm's page.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, based on my experience with it, I got about 20,000 followers or so. Personally, my company page doesn't have that much, but your personal page is going to always do better. And if you want to connect one-on-one with someone, that's the best way to do it. But the cool thing is, you can use your company content and you can put that on your personal page too, just because you have it, and you'll probably get more views from your personal page, but you can connect with the right people and control your following technically, and then build up that audience of exactly who you want, versus say on Instagram or TikTok, you don't have no clue who's looking at your stuff or who follows you. On LinkedIn, you can control exactly the audience. And now when your content goes out, who's potentially seeing it. And then you can get some stats on LinkedIn to say, CEOs, CMOs, whatever, here's the people that saw your content the most. And so you can kind of cater your contacts towards that. So I think it's really cool. And I think that's a good space for you guys to probably focus on, other than just DMing one-on-one. Hey, would you be interested in a coffee or a quick meeting? I had the CFO of a law firm ping me on LinkedIn and said, hey, can you meet me at a Starbucks? And I was like, of course. And they have a budget of $160,000 a month. And the CFO was just like, hey, I think, he's like, I don't control our marketing, but some things about it I feel off about, and we're spending a lot of money. And so I sat down with him, and that was all through LinkedIn. He saw my content, and that was it. So they're not a client yet, but they're a prospect. So it's interesting. People respond if you say, hey, I want to connect. And it seems like people are pretty open to talk to you on there. So
yeah, it seems that way so far. So
I get a lot of spam on there too, though. I get a lot of messages that are just, it's very spammy. But you can pick them out real easy. So So whatever, someone from my team probably reached out and said, "Hey, would you like to be on our podcast?" And, that got through to you somehow. And here you are.
It did. Yeah. I mean, certain things I think help, right? I think podcasts are helpful. I listen to podcasts and not just true crime. I listen to all kinds of podcasts. And although I do listen to the true crime ones, they're excellent also. But I find, when you're in the car or when you're doing something around the house, or even if you need a break from working in a brief or whatever, a podcast is a great way to kind of lose yourself for a little bit of time. Yeah. And, I started about a year ago wondering if that would ever work. And so when you guys reached out, I thought, okay, well, maybe this is a, great first step into seeing what the podcast world is like from being on the podcast side as opposed to just listening.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been. I appreciate you coming on, and it's been a good experience for us. And I advise law firms all the time too. They can create a podcast in their little niche. They can invite potential clients on, or they can talk just about the subject itself. For B2B, I think it's great. Invite your potential client on to be a guest. For more like, say, the divorce, family law, personal injury, you're talking about the subject matter and what people should do because they're in research mode, especially like divorce, a year and a half or something like that. You can put out good content. On the B2B, you literally interview your client and potentially they become a client because they learn about what you do. So I think podcasts are great and they're only growing right now. So
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Scott, to share your story. And I thought you got some interesting stuff. The newsletter thing, that's a cool tip right there. So anyone, B2B specifically, I would say that's a great tip from Scott. Draft up a newsletter for each of your prospects and just keep sending it to them. I think that's awesome. Scott, anything else you want to add before we roll? I do have your website here at the bottom. Anyone that wants to take a look and connect with Scott. Is there another way people can connect with you if they wanted to reach out? And if they're a big automotive company and they wanted to hire you, how would they do that?
Well, they could either email me and go to the website below. They could connect with me on LinkedIn, or if they, that our phone number is on there, I'd welcome them to call, and I'd be more than happy to talk to them.
All right. If you sign up with Scott, all proceeds go to me. So.
I couldn't hear what you said. I think we had a bad connection for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said if anyone signs up with Scott through this podcast, I get all the proceeds. So
still didn't hear that. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I don't know what happened there. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I said, no, just kidding. I like you, Scott. You're pretty good.
Well, thank you.
Everyone tuning in, if you want to see this episode, it'll be up on our website soon, arraylaw.com/podcast. It'll also be up on YouTube, my LinkedIn soon. So Scott, we'll tag you too, and my whole team will reach out to you so you can share it and tag it, put on your content on LinkedIn. And then it'll also be up on the podcast version, Apple, Google, Apple, Spotify, and pretty much every other platform you can imagine. And if you need help with social media, websites, SEO, or advertising your law firm, give us a call or go to arraylaw.com and check us out. Scott, anything else before we roll?
No, just anyone that's looking to start their own firm, just jump in head first. Don't look back, and don't ever wait until you have all the information as whether you should do it. If you think you have 70 to 80% of the information and it's looking good, just go for it. If you wait till you have all the information, it'll be too late.
No, good tip from Scott. And I would say if you got 80 to 70 or 70 to 80%, you're in a pretty good spot. So you're better than most. So jump in, get going. And everyone have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.